There's been one film stock in particular that we've plotted the course as it's went from just a rumor somewhere deep in China to finally making it into the hands of film photographers out in the world, and that's Lucky Film 200. And in today's video, we're going to talk about some early release samples that have been put out from the film stock and just a little bit of controversy surrounding it. So let's get into it. Lucky Film shared some examples of the new Lucky Color 200 at a recent Chinese trade show. It was the Shanghai Image and Vision Expo 2025 that occurred obviously in China last month. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at some examples that were provided by Reflex. You know, the guys who repackaged CineStill and all the other cinema films over the years. Well, they got their hands on a copy of the new Lucky Color 200 and they posted the examples. So we're going to be taking a look at those as we go throughout the video. Reflex's blog went on to say this about Lucky Color 200. At the expo, long lines formed as eager photographers waited to purchase the film, only to be told that supplies were extremely limited. Most attendees left empty-handed. The same day, the film went on sale online, but with just over 100 rolls available on the first day, it sold out within seconds, obviously causing a little bit of frustration. My YouTube channel and other film photography YouTube channels have been hopping this film for, I don't know, a year, like I said, ever since we heard the first rumors about it. And finally, we're able to get our hands on it only for a couple seconds. The film obviously sold out really quickly, but there were some interesting details that came from the launch. According to Reflex Lab, the 36-frame exposure roll was sold as a bundle which included shipping, developing, and scanning and printing for the equivalent of $8.22. That's less than the cost of Kodak's cheapest film, Color Plus. So, I mean, let's just pause here from reading Reflex's blog entry to talk about that. $8.22, including shipping and development, is absolutely nuts. You know, there's guys out there that have been following the film launch just like I have, and we all kind of postulated $5 a roll. It's a good word, right? Postulated. But $5 a roll, I thought, you know, that's a really good price. It's a couple bucks cheaper than Kodak, and I think they would sell a whole lot of it at that price. But I did, at the time, even concede that I thought that was a pretty ambitious price point, and I didn't think there would be much meat left on the bone for Lucky Film. Oh, but I was wrong. What do you guys pay for development? I use one of the major developers out there, and it's 11, 12 bucks a roll, and that's about the best you can do. So for Lucky Film to offer that in a bundle, including the price of the film, for $8.22, it's pretty awesome. But there's some questions I have about that business model and whether that would translate to any success in the United States. After all, the film's being made and packaged and shipped and presumably developed in China. I know we've got all this overnight shipping and all this stuff, but like, how quickly can we realistically expect to get it over there and back, and at what cost? While they're benefiting in China from the $8.22 price point, I don't know that maybe we'll be able to see that same price point over here. We'll probably just be able to buy the film really cheap when it finally crosses over to overseas. But there's a real question about when that's going to be. Let's keep reading. Reflex Lab went on to say that the initial production run will be limited to just 10,000 rolls due to the emulsion still being in refinement. They plan on gradually improving the formula and will scale up production once all the identified issues have been resolved. I don't think that's that unusual or that unrealistic to expect them to have done. This is very similar to what Harman has done with their Phoenix line of film. They really stressed in their advertising and their marketing materials that this was a limited edition film stock, which is pretty much the same concept. They're making X amount of film, they're releasing it to the public while they work out the kinks. And now we've got Harman Phoenix 2 that we just reviewed on our channel. But that's not that unusual. The unusual thing is that they go on to say that this film, the 10,000 rolls of Lucky Color 200, won't be released in the States at all. It'll just be for Chinese consumption. So that's really strange. We're gonna have to wait till a subsequent edition of Lucky Color 200 before we're able to get our hands on it at all. So that's pretty weird. But Reflex also had a couple things to highlight about the actual look of the film, and we'll talk about some of this as we go on too. But Reflex went on to point out that the film has a more pronounced red bias than Kodak's film and doesn't share Fujifilm's strong cyans, which is something I'm quite partial to. However, it's worth noting that the 200 performs best under daylight conditions, which is also indicated on the packaging. Under cloudy skies or indoor lighting, the colors tend to look dull and grayish, so the versatility of the film is somewhat limited. Reflex goes on to point out that there are also some flaws with this initial batch as well, that there's some white and blue dots on the film, and you can see these. I'm going to highlight them for you here. The first batch was manually coated by Reflex Lab, but once they move to full-scale industrial machine coating in the future, many of these issues with the spotting should be resolved. So what do you guys make after having looked at some of the image samples? What do you make of Lucky Color 200? To my eye, it looks every bit at least as good as Harman Phoenix 2, so they're off to a good start. I'm just looking forward to getting my hands on it in the United States. Now, hint, hint, Lucky Film, I've gave you a lot of publicity on my channel. Send me a few rolls. And if you thought this video was cool, take a look at this video of the aforementioned Harman Phoenix 2. It was recently released and shares a lot of the same characteristics of this new Lucky Color 200. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.